Hi, Lydia. Jeff here. I just saw your post about talking to the mentor, the YKI past mentor, and he mentioned an interesting thought that in Finland it's easy to give up because the government will take care of you anyway. Uh, I grew up in the United States and I came to France, another social democracy state that has a lot of government subsidies for people. When I was 23, and I've lived here pretty much all my life. And I've seen the same thing that you're talking about in France, and have lived here for more than half my life, and can see in my friends, my family, even my children, the same kind of thing you're talking about. Um, of it's easy to give up anyway because the government will pay you more to be unemployed than for you to get another job at a less good paying job. Um, and for me, I've written a lot about working with the French. I've made a video series, made books, articles on it, and I've talked about these types of things. Having grown up in a different culture, a different society, with a different value on perseverance, right? And I think that's a key thing of some cultures are perseverant, and people personalities can be very personal. I'm a very perseverant personality to start with, but then add to it that I come from a culture that's tends to be perseverant, and all that. And living in one that's a little less can sometimes be an interesting thing. It creates like a lot of conflict, but I've learned to kind of adapt to it. But it's funny that I'll say that the last week, this last week, I've had two situations where I've kind of given up on things. And I've over the years I've kind of wanted to. I'm doing it because I live in France. I'm assimilating the French culture more than not. Or is it age saying it's not worth continuing to invest in something if it's not going to work out? And I think it's the latter. I'll give two examples of it. I was in a, I play in bands and some music bands, and I've about a year and a half ago, I started trying to play with. I'd done a concert and played with one guy, and then he said, "Oh, I got some friends, or we want to kind of play together. We want to do some concerts. We can kind of get into getting concerts." Well, it never actually worked into turning concerts. We do, regular band rehearsal, kind of rehearsals, but it never turned into doing any kind of concerts because the restaurants they don't do it, and the folks aren't kind of they're retired folks. They just want to play music together, have fun, but their goal isn't to do any musical events. And my goal is to do music events because I do a lot of musical events. So so then we joined it. We got another group. He said they got another, a guy that plays, drums really well and the bass really well. And I get there and it's like the guy's a beginner. He's not even he's not a beginner, but he just has never, these folks have never played in concerts before. So we kind of got a thing where I just felt, I'm going to stop because I'm tired of trying to convince myself. And this is the second band that I've stopped in France, where the people don't want to do music events. They say they do, but they really don't want to. And so that's not really my goal. And that's not my natural personality to do that. It's not something that I like to do. I don't want to stop because I want to persevere. But there are times you just say no. It's too much. It won't be worth it, and there won't be any results. I come from also a culture there's results. And see, this is the thing. There are two different cultures in general, according to Melissa Lampson. There are three traits, and one of the traits that she mentions, and it's in my various. I talked about this in the various video series on my YouTube channel, working with Americans, working with the French, working with the Germans. I talk about these traits, and one of the three traits from Melissa Lamson that she cites is the cultures that are you can be process oriented or you can be results oriented, and it's very, very possible that the cultures that tend to be not so perseverant in the socialist system are process oriented. There's focus on the process. The process you got to apply for this, apply for that. If you don't get it, well, you don't get it, right? But if you come from a culture that's results oriented, you are the one responsible to make your results, not someone else. And so that may be a thing behind that. Okay, something to look into. And go watch my videos on that and my understanding and work in the American series and my work in the French and work in the Germans, where I talk about the results versus process oriented, and that might give some insight into that. The second example that actually happened just the other day, I wanted to make a surprise birthday party. I'm putting it on LinkedIn, but I'm not saying who the surprise is for, right? Well, somebody kind of dear to me, so that's all I can say. But I just found out that her family. I'm beginning to know her family and stuff and all that, and I'm finding that there are more things involved I'm not so aware of, and I just kind of decided to not try to do a surprise birthday party. We'll do it a different way, right? And because when you find out that, and I might begin with age again, that the investing something, organizing something, putting together, and not and having risky results with other people, relationships and stuff, might not be worth the hassle, right? And I think that comes with experience. When you're young, you think you can do it, and it doesn't matter the results. But when you get older, you begin to think about what are the consequences and repercussions of the results on personal relationships and other stuff. And those that can have negative damage and things. And so I think this comes into play too, is reputation damage. How does that come into play? And I think that's a bit of it too. And if you are responsible for something, and you'll be the one that will be tagged with the responsibility for right, this event or something didn't work out, the people complain about it. It's the results, and not want to. Whereas if the government's doing it, you don't have to worry about it because it's someone else's responsibility. It's not my company's responsibility, my government's responsibility. That so you're kind of getting into a de-responsibility kind of scenario, but not if you're the one that's doing it. So this may come into play with these different types of cultures and habits. So I think that there is impact. I think there is influence on these things, and I don't say that it applies to everyone. I do know a number of French people they do take things in the hand, they do it, they persevere, and they kind of will make some mistakes along the way or do things that it's counterculture. It's counterculture, and you're rowing up the river, right? You're going against the flow. So, but they do it, and they tend to succeed rather than others because of that. But interesting what others here say about this too. In this, I don't want to see capitalistic versus social democracy states. I want to kind of avoid it because everyone's got some capitalism too. And I don't think that capitalism is always good, but I think that there might be some perseverances versus giving up kind of factors that can come into this if you know that there'll always be a net. There's always a net underneath you. You don't have to worry about it. If you come from cultures there ain't no net. Yeah, if there is not a net, then you're gonna be a little more careful how you do things, and you're gonna decide what you're gonna do, prioritize that. So those are my thoughts on it. See what others say.